serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A doctrinal approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.
Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
Hello, and welcome. I am, also known as the Emperor of the DENDAO and Emperor of Den.Social. This is our weekly meeting, or periodically weekly meeting. We have a few updates for you, or I do, shall I say, and we have our agenda here. Let's go ahead and bring up that. Share that screen. Sorry, I didn't have that ready to go. Right. And let's add that to the stage. Okay, so again, this is the DENDAO meeting for Den.Social, the weekly meeting. It's February 18th, 2026. And today's agenda, we're going to talk about opening governance votes, open DENDAO or DEN support issues, obviously the MTR payout, updating using AI to add functions and possibly fix issues, as well as we'll take a look at Q&A. So let's dive into it real quick. And for those of you, I'm sure most of you, shall we say, in Europe and elsewhere will probably watch this later and not live. You're probably sleeping right now. All right, so let's go right into the governance votes. There really are no other governance votes. Everything else has been resolved. However, new additions on the governance votes that require devs input that aren't automatic will not happen at this time. As we have discussed in previous meetings, the devs, we have a resource issue. We have a resource of time. There's a limited amount of devs. They have a lot on their plate on other applications that are paying their bills. And so any work that they're doing on Den.Social right now is on a voluntary basis. So they have limited time, limited resources to apply towards updating anything from the governance that requires additional work. As well, this goes as well with support issues. But right now, the only one that is pending is the March theme. So I encourage everyone to go out to World Blockchain Roundtable and pick the theme that you would like the panelists to discuss on that weekly Thursday morning show podcast. Again, that is the World Blockchain Roundtable. It's the longest running podcast that is managed by a DAO in the world. And it's hard to say, it's hard to believe that that Den.Social, with its DAO functionality or governance model functionality, can do this. Just got to get the word out that what governance capabilities that Den.Social has. So anyway, join us every morning at 10 o'clock Central. That's 11 o'clock Eastern on Thursday mornings for the World Blockchain Roundtable podcast, where we talk about blockchain and current events. So going back to our issues, all right, again, open support issues and MTR payouts. I know that this is frustrating for everybody, including myself. We just haven't been able to go back and fix the MTR payouts. I was informed, again, I've said this before, that by posting on Den.Social, you will still eventually be credited. It's the linkage from the post to the payout that is broken. All right. So as I drink from my red callus as a Caesar emperor, let's hope that we can get these payouts fixed. There is something on the background that I'm working on, and I'm looking at trading for services to maybe have a dev go in and fix that. Something that they need, something that I can do, and maybe we can barter for this to get fixed. Fingers crossed. Next item. Oh, let me go into one other thing. Smiling Caitlin says that this person is currently locked out and needs assistance with their Den.Social. They created a separate account just so that they could log in and post this message on Den support. I replied that I'll personally reach out to Joe and see what can be done. And this type of issue. These issues are obviously different than the actual functionality within inside of Den. So see if we can't get this fixed. And by the way, the login function will eventually change for a lot of applications that use Dragonchain. And there's a group that wants to use Den's governance functionality. And they also need the login function to work correctly, be automated, and be secure. So having said all that, when that code is written, it'll be written for all of us within Den as well. And that will probably prevent this kind of thing from happening. It'll be a more automated, secure, and it's least likely that someone's going to have to post on Den support to resolve this issue. So that is taken into account. Peta asks, is anyone still here? Of course, there are still people here on Den. I get that. And I encourage everyone to keep posted on things that are changing here with Den.Social, and go to the weekly morning, announcements like we're doing right now to catch the latest and greatest. Okay, so let's go into item number 3 on the agenda. It's update using AI to add functions and fix issues. So, as many of you know, AI advancements are growing at an exponential rate. This includes AI and automation replacing a lot of jobs out there, but this also includes coding. And I had a conversation with Joe yesterday, and we talked about, and Joe, if you don't know, is Joe Rhodes, the founder of Dragonchain. Den.Social runs on top of Dragonchain. And he and I spoke briefly yesterday and talked about, Den's pivot, renaming, rebranding, and using AI like Claude to maybe add functionality, rebrand, whatever. For example, adding a polymarket type functionality to it and not a video. Adding video to Den is a heavy lift and a big lift, and going towards a group of those who have been banned on social media, again, is maybe a limited market and also a big heavy lift. So those items could be pointed towards the future, but what Den has obviously is governance capabilities, and we could use maybe Claude in a way to write the code so that we can make the governance function marketable, maybe marketable to homeowners associations, other places where they want, human behavior like meeting attendance, um, uh, voting at, how many times a person has voted on proposals and this kind of thing, creating a reputation score, or an ability to vote on issues or proposals. Just like if you own a particular portion of a layer, you can vote on a proposal within that layer. Same kind of mechanics, but roll that out as a potentiality for revenue generation for Den.Social, because we have that code already. We could just tweak it a little bit. Maybe we could use Claude to do this. And Joe had mentioned that if someone can get involved and do those types of coding using an AI, then he and the other devs wouldn't be actually spending a lot of time writing that part of the code. Rather, they would be looking at auditing the code and then implementing it, or the code to be written to add functionality, and then they would review it and then implement it. So that's what we talked about as an idea. Who knows if we could also use, an AI like Claude to fix the MTR payout problem, because as I said before, it appears to be just a linkage issue. The calculations are still happening. The DEN is still mining or minting that 1000 MTR daily. They just aren't being dispersed properly to every individual. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. I might take on that role of using AI Claude or something of that nature on an existing machine. He said he would help set up that environment for me, or one of the individuals on the dev team could help set up that environment in a test environment, so that I can maybe add something like, who knows, maybe add some of the items to the governance, or add maybe expanding the idea of a poly market or Kalshi onto Den.Social to drive new users and new members over here. So that is an idea. It's exciting. It is a popular update that I think a lot of you would be anxious to hear. AI has come so far, so fast. Why couldn't we employ that to fix our problems and grow this, amazing foundation that we've built here on Den.Social? That's what I think. I think it would be great. So let me refresh here, see if there's any open QA. And no, there are no additional comments. That's the bottom. So if you watch this later, please make a comment. I'll respond. And I personally, for what it's worth, I personally think the fastest and quickest way we could grow Den is to leverage what we already have and implement some kind of poly market. Den.Social already is a poly market, essentially, because every posting is a poly market. And or if you want to call it an event market. So why not change the interface just a little bit and allow people to post, events like a sporting event, a political event, a weather event that people are essentially gambling on. And you would post your energy or something of that nature. And rewards would come about after the event has ended. And the individual who created the event for everyone to vote up or vote down on, which is like a yes or no that you would see on Kalshi or Polymarket, was what Den has been doing before they even existed. So why not? Why not expand it that way? I think it'd be the video lift is huge and would take a lot of investment. This might take a lot less. And Claude could help us get us back on an app, I think. So there you have it. That's what we got for today. I wanted to share this with you for Den.Social. So that pretty much concludes our meeting today. Hit refresh one more time. Nobody has joined the meeting. And scroll down. There are no additional comments. So without any further ado, that concludes today's DENDAO meeting. And I want to appreciate everybody who is still there in DIN posting, information, posting, views, posting, great pictures of their life or home life, or sharing information that the community finds interesting. You will be rewarded dramatically if we fix this MTR and fix this. You'll see that with fewer people out there, there's more people that are going to be able to gain a lot of that 1,000 MTR on a daily basis. All right. So without any further ado, that concludes the meeting. Thank you everybody for watching, listening, and be sure and keep posting on Den.Social. Even though you don't see the MTR yet, keep posting, please. Thank you very much, everybody. See you next week.